raise your hand if you finished your wheel. Okay. You didn't finish your wheel? You didn't want you to raise your hand? Oh, you didn't finish it? Okay, so I'll come back to you because I saw you working hard on it. All right? So again, the wheel isn't something that has to be perfect. I know that I came up with this, but I was on the computer when I did it. I'd probably have like a really wacky looking wheel if I had to do it myself. So let's kind of discuss these wheels. Who had, for instance, whose largest section was gender? If they look at their wheel. Whose largest section was gender? Okay. Okay, now did you put a T or an A? You put an A, so you feel like you're more advantaged because of your gender? Okay, so now let's look at the isms that go with those. If you feel like you're targeted, then isms will come into play. So like, if it's race, you'll see racism. If it's sex, you'll see sexism. If it's gender, you'll see gender oppression, which is commonly known as sexism. All right. If it's orientation, it would be heterosexism. All right. If it's class, it would be classism. If it's ability or disability, it would be ableism. If it's religion, it would be religious oppression, which I have my own word that I think should belong there. It should be extremism. But, you know, I guess that's just for Muslims, all right? And if it's age, it would be ageism, okay? So if you're advantaged, then you wouldn't identify with, relate to any of these isms. If you're targeted, you will relate to some of these isms. And no one is all targeted or all advantaged. No one is even always targeted when it comes to something that you may have put on your wheel as targeted. Okay, sometimes you may be advantaged, all right? And sometimes when you think about the smaller sections, who had orientation, for example? Was that a big section? Small section? Did everyone put an A for orientation? Not a T? Okay. What about ability? Was that a big section? Small section for everyone? Did everyone put an A when it comes to it? Okay. What about religion? Big section? Raise your hand if it was a big section. So, a lot of people, it's a big section. Did you put T or A? It depends on what, no, you got to choose one for this. Just for this exercise, choose one. Would you say T or A? There's no right or wrong answer. T? Okay. What about race? Did anyone choose race like I did? All right. Did you put T or A? A. So you had a big section on race and you put advantaged? No? You put an A, but you're not advantaged? Consider changing that. So if you, many of you will notice that if it's a T, if it's targeted, that section is kind of big. And if it's A, where it's advantage, it may be kind of small. Okay? Why is that? I said many of you will notice that if you have a large section, you probably marked it T. And if you have a smaller section, you probably marked it A. Why do you think that is? Why do you think we have a tendency to mark those big sections as T?
Because you don't usually know, like for example, if like, you're able, you wouldn't think it's a problem. Disabled would think it's a, like that's, they would feel targeted or they would feel like it's a big problem for them, or like people look at them differently because of whatever they're going through. But if you're able, you wouldn't even think about it.
So if someone that was disabled, you think that that section would be bigger and probably have a T on it?
Yeah, going off of that, a lot of times what we struggle with the most makes up a huge part of our identities.
Okay, so the things that we struggle with the most can be play a very significant role in our identity. It affects us, and it influences us. And those things that we don't really have as many challenges, we don't really tend to think about too much.